If you subscribe to our channel, you've probably heard me talk in the past about some of the guys that are out there that get some kind of identity from what airsoft gun they use. Now the problem is a lot of those guns are so futuristic looking that they're just plain bizarre, and they don't even look like assault weapons to me. And that's with one exception, and that is the gun we're going to talk about today, which is the H&K G36c. In the last 20 years, there's been a lot of advancement in the use of polymers in constructing assault rifles. The problem is, in my opinion, a lot of the manufacturers are going a little bit crazy and just being different for the sake of being different and manufacturing these guns that are just plain bizarre. The thing that I like about the G36 is this is a more advanced design, but it's not so bizarrely different that us guys that are used to M4s and M14s are going to be completely lost when we pick up this gun. The G36 was originally designed in the early 1990s by Heckler & Koch, or H&K. It is a gas-operated assault rifle that uses a short-stroke piston with a rotating bolt and fires standard NATO 5.56 ammo. It was accepted into service with the German military in 1997, replacing the larger G3 battle rifle. First up today, we're going to talk about the M85, which is Double Eagle's version of the G36 battle rifle. Now keep in mind, this is a plastic gun with a plastic gearbox, so it's not meant to compete against the guys that have the full metal gearboxes that are shooting 350 plus feet per second out there. What it does give you is a fairly dependable gun. We've sold hundreds of these things and we've seen almost none of them come back with any kind of manufacturer's defect. In fact, the majority of problems we see with these are general operator error, where they either jam them up or go run into a tree and smash the end of the gun off. But outside of that, these guns have been extremely dependable, and if you're looking for a basic gun to get started with, this is the one that I recommend the most. Now the M85 offers you both some strengths and weaknesses for this kind of airsoft gun. First of all, it's a G36 style magazine that has the opaque plastic, so you can actually see the bullets through the plastic. So if it were a real gun, you could actually see how many bullets you have left. Obviously, this is an airsoft gun, so these are not real bullets, they're just fake bullets that cover up the mechanism inside of the magazine. Now the magazines that come in the M85 are the mid-cap variety, which means you have a fairly limited amount of ammunition that fits into these things, usually around 30 or 40 rounds, and you have to use a speed loader device in order to load the magazines. The upside of these magazines is that they're dead silent when you're running on the battlefield, so you don't sound like you got a bunch of jelly beans in your pocket when you're trying to sneak up on somebody. The other cool thing about the M85 mags is that they're designed to clip together like this in multiples of 2, 3, 4, or however many you want to carry, so it makes reloading go a lot quicker. One of the things I really like about the M85 is getting the battery in and out of it is fairly simple. You just simply press the button at the end of the receiver here, which releases the foregrip, and you can just pull it right off, and it gives you easy access to the battery for charging. Now they do give you an adjustable hop-up on this gun, which is done by way of a little slider that's inside of the ejection port here, where you can change the hop-up settings on the gun. Keep in mind, this is a plastic gearbox gun, so it's only going to give you about 150 to 180 feet per second. So you're going to want to be limited to the lighter weight ammunition like the .12 BBs that are out there, because the heavier weight ammunition is just going to be a little bit too much for this gun. Now the M85 does have a threaded barrel, so it's possible to remove the flash suppressor from the gun. A lot of them also include a silencer which threads onto the same threads on the end of the barrel. I don't personally recommend these things, except for maybe just displaying the gun because it makes it look kind of cool, but in the real world these just break off very easily if you run into like a tree or a branch or something like that, and I've seen a lot of kids do that. So if you're going to display the gun on the wall, it's cool to leave the suppressor on there, but if you're actually planning on using the gun, I would suggest staying with the flash hider. One nice thing about the M85 and the G36 in general is that they give you a lot of rails for adding accessories onto the gun. So they give you a quad rail so you can add a forward grip or a laser or a flashlight or a scope. And if you want to buy a gun that already comes equipped with all of those accessories, they sell the M85P that comes complete with the flashlight, the adjustable laser, the scope, and the forward grip. The nice thing about this gun is that both the scope and the laser are adjustable for windage and elevation. I've seen some cheaper ones out there that just give you a fixed aiming point. This actually can be adjusted so where you're aiming is where the bullet is going to go. Now for those of you that want to move up to a higher end version of the G36, we offer the G608, which is JG's version of the G36. Now this is the full metal version of the G36, so it is substantially heavier than the Double Eagle version of the same gun. This particular one weighing in at over 5 pounds versus the Double Eagle, which weighs in at a little over 2 pounds. So this is at least twice as heavy as the Double Eagle version of the gun. The cocking lever on the G36 is located on the top of the receiver in this position. This is an ambidextrous mechanism which allows you to access it from either side of the gun for lefties and righties. This, of course, being an airsoft gun, it doesn't serve any particular purpose except to give you access to the hop-up unit, which is located inside of the receiver in the ejection port. Now the standard iron sights on a G36 are a rear aperture and a front post. The rear aperture being adjustable for both windage and elevation. The other thing is that it gives you two different apertures for day and night settings, a larger aperture for nighttime or low light, and a smaller aperture setting for daylight settings to be a little more accurate. The selector switch on the G36 is a standard H&K design, which you've probably seen before on the G3 and the MP5. It's an ambidextrous design which gives you access from both sides of the receiver, and the settings are for safety, semi-automatic, and fully automatic operation. The stocks that are on a G36 are pretty much standard issue H&K folding design. In order to fold the stock, you just basically press this button located at the rear of the receiver, which releases the stock. The other cool thing is that this shell deflector located at the rear of the ejection port also serves as a catch to retain the stock when it's in its folded position. The JG comes standard with the high capacity version of the G36 magazines. The nice thing about these is that they're also able to be clipped together in order to facilitate faster magazine changes. Now for those of you out there that don't like the G36 style magazines, there are conversion kits where you can adapt these for using standard M4 and M16 Stanag mags. The battery on the JG is located in the same location as the Double Eagle. The only difference being is that you have to remove a pin from the front of the stock, and then it just slides forward and allows you access to the battery compartment. From my perspective, being somebody that actually works on these guns, I really like the simplicity of the G36 design. You can basically remove 2 pins from the gun, and the entire gun comes apart for easy disassembly and maintenance. Now, if the standard G36 isn't disco enough for you in its stock form, you may want to consider doing some custom modifications to it. Like in this case, we've added an extended barrel and a SOCOM suppressor onto the end of it. This basically serves two purposes. Number one, it looks cool as hell, but the other thing is that you can put a much longer barrel into this thing, so you can turn a G36 into a fully automatic sniper rifle. One common complaint I hear from a lot of guys that have electric guns is that the standard battery compartment is just not big enough to put in larger capacity batteries. So in this case, we've added an external battery box, which basically looks like an infrared designator, so you can put in just about any size battery, whether it's a LiPo or a nickel metal hydride, will fit into this gun. So if you're having trouble getting your battery into your gun, or you just want to add a larger battery, you may want to consider the external battery box. One thing you're going to really want to take advantage of, especially with the G36, is the fact that it's got a large standard Picatinny rail located on the upper receiver, so it's very easy to add additional optics onto this gun. In this case, we've got a simple reflex sight which has multiple reticle settings, so you can actually change what your aim point looks like depending on lighting conditions and so forth. Something else you may want to consider is a custom camo paint job on your weapon, which of course we do here at Replay Sports. Just bring us an example of what camo scheme you want done and what weapon you want it put on, and we'll give you an estimate of exactly what it's going to take to do that. So as you can see, there's a lot of options when it comes to the G36. So whether you want to stick with the standard bone stock model, or if you want to go for the fully customized sniper rifle, the G36 pretty much has all of your bases covered. If you'd like to find out more about the G36 or any of the other guns that we have in stock, feel free to stop by the showroom. We'd be glad to sit down, let you try the gun out, and get you exactly what you want the first time. So until then, we'll see you the next time.